You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Exploring the multiverse of pop culture.
This is Podcasserole.
An Adam and JP show.
Hey, welcome back to Podcasserole.
Hey, look at there. It's like we never left.
Well, for us, we never. I'm Jay Patrick. That's Adam. Hey, if you want to support the ESO Podcast Network, the Earth Station 1 Broadcast Network, are you okay?
Oh, I'm good.
You can do that by supporting the Amazon store. The link is right there on the homepage at esopodcast.com.
It's fun to do.
Coming up, we're going to talk about The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
The last of the Nolan Batman movies.
Are you sad about that experience, or are you happy about it?
That we're ending the...
Well, the fact that we're going to talk about this movie in particular. What's your take on it this many years later? You'll save it for later, won't you?
I will say this.
You're trying to summarize it without saying too much.
Rewatching this, quite possibly the most complicated superhero movie ever, story-wise.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of things happen.
And
a lot of it shouldn't have.
It's very busy. Still good.
Yeah.
Still really good. It's still an enjoyable movie.
Still real to me.
It didn't have to be all that it was. Batman, you don't have to be all you can be in The Dark Knight Rises. Before we get into that, though, we like to do something that we call This Week in NWO News. And a little something this week for the NWO News. We're going to do Urban Legends.
Yeah.
And, let me hit the theme. So, the way this was brought up to me, I guess.
Yeah.
My niece, who is 21 years old, she sends me a text message last week.
Right.
And it's a picture from Instagram. And the photograph shows the pump handle from a gas pump. And in the very bottom
See what you're saying here.
is a needle sticking towards the grip. So if you grab the handle and when you squeezed it to put gas in your vehicle, the needle would go into your hand. And my niece says, I can't believe people are doing this. And I respond, well, you shouldn't, because they're not.
Right. This stems back, when we were kids, the strangers putting razor blades in your apples and your candy for Halloween.
Yeah, and she said, but here's a picture of it. Somebody obviously did this.
A picture? That means it's real.
I know. I said, well, I don't think, logistically you could do that. Think about what would happen once you put the needle in the handle. As soon as you put it back in the pump, it would break the needle off.
Right.
So
immediately, bam.
Yeah, it's impossible for this to happen. I said, go to Snopes. If you go to Scopes.com.
Yeah, get your breath mints.
If you go to Scopes, you
actually went to Scopes.com.
You can look up scopes for your guns. Like hunting scopes.
That's pretty funny. I actually went to Scopes.com.
Scopes.com.
Yeah.
Don't operate blindly. When you just need to see over, under, or in between.
That's funny.
We got you covered at Scopes.com. Yeah, you would think Scope would own. They would own Scopes.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went to Snopes and sent her a link. And so when we started thinking about doing NWO News this week, I said, let's do some urban legends. So I said, go through Snopes and pick out some of your favorites.
There are tons. The Snopes in general, I know it's been around for at least 15 years. Back in my high school days, I would go on Snopes and just scour it for all kinds of favorite stories. They had good videos, good pictures. Because back in the late 90s, mid-90s, when you weren't fully aware yet that everything you saw on the internet was not true. So if you saw that someone had been fishing and they caught a huge shark the size of a yacht, you're like, wow, that's a big shark, and that's a totally true story. But as we go on now, we realize not everything we see was someone has minimal understanding of Photoshop can make stuff like that and pass it on, and thousands, if not millions, share it, and it could be known as a fact. But we know with websites like Snopes.com, that is not the case all the time.
9 times out of 10, these are just urban legends.
Exactly. And I want to talk about some that I've seen recently, not exactly over my life have been the best ones, but I've seen some hot takes in the hot sheets recently.
Oh, okay.
Such as school kids are now smoking and injecting crushed bed bugs to get high from hallucinogenic substance they contain. So basically you go to the hotels and they harvest these bed bugs, they crush them up, they can snort them like cocaine, roll it up in a joint and smoke it, and it's the next version of LSD because you can smoke bed bugs. Now, would you think that's true or false?
Well, that sounds like a fun weekend.
Exactly.
Yes, to me that sounds like a lot of fun.
But yeah, it is, of course, it is a false story. I think it's kind of funny. Every now and then you've heard stories of people crushing up things, and every kid has at least tried or thought of snorting a pixie stick, but you never thought of crushing up a bed bug and smoking it. And that's one of the hot takes of the urban legends of what the kids do nowadays. Crazy, right?
I wouldn't put it past them.
I'm sure it may have happened before, maybe. And this started back in April 2014, and it's grown throughout the internet, but it is, of course, a false story.
Considering I went to high school with kids who would snort salt,
Yeah.
sugar.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'll give you the full story here.
The
if you want.
idea of this would not surprise me.
In their latest effort to find a cheap high that doesn't require the purchase of any actual drugs, teens have discovered a way to smoke bed bugs. Yes, bed bugs. The things that normal people hate even thinking about. Little critters that plague hotels and give guests nasty rashes. Yes, those very same bed bugs. Apparently the insects contain a hallucinogenic substance within them, except it is impossible to isolate it, so the bugs have to be caught, killed, and crushed into a powder, which is then either smoked or perhaps even worse and more disgusting, injected. How did they even think of this?
Now, I think maybe a basis for this comes from the fact that it is true that some bugs are used.
Some, yeah.
They are crushed up and used in food coloring, correct?
Right, yeah.
I mean, your former employer did
exactly.
this,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's Starbucks and many. not just Starbucks.
Not just Starbucks.
I would think. I mean, at McDonald's, any place that has any kind of sweet treat, even Lifesavers and Starburst for a while, they had a certain, I forget the actual number combination, like a red 40, red whatever, that was derived from actually crushing beetles up, and the actual natural dye they would have. And it was natural. You can say all natural ingredients, but at the same time, you're injecting bug juice or little beetle juice.
Yeah, beetle juice.
The story derived, not to go too deep into it, of course it was a hoax, but it was an April Fool's Day prank based on an altered version of a real Knoxville TV report from several months earlier on the dangers of dabbing, which is inhaling butane-extracted hash oil, also known as BHO. But it was kind of an April Fool's Day hoax the news ran, and so people took that and spread the video all across the world, and the idea of smoking bed bugs began.
Should news organizations really be doing April Fool's
jokes? Well, I guess in their eyes that was harmless, of crushing up bed bugs with smoke. Maybe they thought that was so stupid no one would do that, but it was kind of a take on the whole dabbing idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a fun one from Snopes.com. An episode of a 1950s Western TV series, Track Down, featured a character named Walter Trump who claimed he would build a wall in order to protect a town from the end of the world. You know what the fun thing about Snopes is?
What's that?
I mean, they research it.
Oh, yeah, big time, extensively.
It's legit.
Really?
This is true. In November of 2016, a clip from an episode of the 1950s Western television series Track Down was published to YouTube, along with the claim that it predicted Donald Trump by featuring a snake oil salesman character named Trump, who claimed that he could only prevent the end of the world by building a wall around the town. That is true.
That's crazy.
And there's actually a clip here, too. I don't know if we can...
Give it to me.
In the fires of the universe. But be not afraid, my friends. I also bring you the means with which to save yourselves.
Save us from what?
From the end of the world, friend. Which I don't expect you to believe. But the rest of you, those who want to be alive tomorrow morning.
This sounds just like a Trump
I will
stump
tell
speech.
you tonight. Remember that. Bring your friends here. I'll tell you tonight so that you will be able to prepare.
What are you selling, mister? Snake oil?
The world will come to a flaming end at midnight tonight.
Wow, that is. That's close.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So sometimes they turn out to be true.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
Have you heard the newest one about the parking lot perfume robbers?
No.
So if you need to be safe, when you're going to the mall, going to your favorite Walmart, your Kmart, maybe your Buds, when you come out to back your car, if someone offers you...
When was the last time you shopped at Buds?
I don't know if they exist anymore. But if someone offers you and says, hey, man, you look like a guy that likes some perfume or cologne. I am a perfume salesman. Would you like to try some of my perfume? And they take the top off of this perfume sample and you smell it. Next thing you know, you wake up And so Motel 6, you're smoking bed bug joints. You don't know what's happening because what happened, these perfume
building
sellers,
walls.
it's actually ether they have in their little cylinders there. And they make you smell it. And then you pass out and they do God knows what to you while you're gone.
Mr. Cosby, I don't want to buy any perfume.
Sadly enough, or maybe happily so, the story of the rogue perfume sellers in parking lots of malls and shopping centers is a false story. It's just an urban legend.
Oh.
That's good, though. For nearly 20 years now, The Origin says internet users have been immersed in warnings advising them to be wary of persons attempting to sell perfume in store parking lots. This was all. There's no actual origin to it or video like the last bedbug story had. This was strictly a story made up where it started in 1999. And it's just now gaining traction. So if you have an urban legend idea in your head, just stay with it. 20 years later, you could have a big one.
So just off the top of your head,
Yeah.
what are some of, I mean, we remember urban legends when we were a kid.
Yeah.
Is there like one urban legend that sticks in the, that as we got older
Yeah.
or through Snopes, saw that it wasn't true,
Yeah.
but we believed it when we were kids?
There's something that still scares me to this day. If I'm driving at nighttime and someone has their headlights off, I don't tell them that they're off.
Yeah.
I don't flicker my lights.
And why not?
Because as the urban legend goes, that is initiation for gang members to drive with their headlights off. The first person that passes them and flicks their headlights to inform them their headlights are off, they'll turn around, chase them down, and kill the person that flickered the headlights at them.
Yeah,
That's what I've always heard.
That's not true.
Not at all. I mean, I don't think so. I hope not. I still don't flicker my headlights. But I'm pretty sure that's not true at all. But do you flicker your lights if someone has
Yeah,
their
if somebody
headlights?
has their headlights
You tell
off.
them?
Yeah.
You're flirting with disaster.
No,
You're Molly Hatchet up in here. Yeah, I don't do that. I don't go down that road.
I remember like one with the what was it? The air freshener shaped like a crown.
Oh yeah. They had in like the back
Right.
window.
If they had it in the back window,
Yeah.
then that was a sign that they were some
Yeah.
sort of gang affiliation.
I forgot about
believe.
that. Yeah.
When really it's just people driving around with air fresheners shaped like a crown in the back of their window.
Yeah.
Probably the most famous that I can think of from my childhood was the Phil Collins.
Which one is? Oh yeah.
About In the Air Tonight.
Yeah. Tell that one.
The urban legend is Phil Collins wrote In the Air Tonight after watching someone drown that could have been saved by someone who was closer right next to them on the shore.
Right.
And Phil Collins wasn't close enough to save the person from drowning, but watched basically this person let someone drown because they wouldn't jump in and save them.
Uh-huh.
And that inspired him to write In the Air Tonight. Not true.
Not at all.
No. No, not true at all. It was even referenced in an Eminem song and Stan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Here's one. Just like the thing I mentioned, like the needle in the gas pump from
Right.
Instagram. It's
My mom has put this on Facebook and believed it to be true.
Really?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
basically what I'm looking at here is an Instagram photo of a banana that's, congealed and inside the sugar has gone through some sort of chemical transformation that discolors differently than you would normally see a banana discolor.
Right.
That's what we're looking at.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We're looking at a near rotten banana, is basically. And then on Instagram, someone named Anna says, "This happened to my friend's sister who lives in Nebraska, but please share this and be aware. Someone is injecting blood into bananas. The hospital tested the banana, and it is indeed blood. After researching on the internet, apparently someone is injecting HIV-positive blood into bananas and oranges."
Wow.
Not true. Not true.
Yeah.
Apparently this, some people say, "I bought a bundle of bananas from Walmart in Aberdeen tonight and opened it to give my 2-year-old daughter. This is what I found inside. I opened the rest of the bundle and they appeared to be normal bananas. I'm not saying it's blood, but what else could it be? One banana out of the whole bundle was like this. A little weird." Yeah, it's just happens to bananas.
Do you think these people are being gang stalked at all?
I think gang stalkers could fall for this
You
sort
think
of
so?
stuff.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe that. Oh, wow. It goes on to, when you research this more, it's not just people saying that they've injected blood into bananas.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they saying?
Other stuff.
Oh wow.
Previously chewed food,
Really?
other bodily fluids.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But not true.
Wow.
You don't have to worry about that.
I'm going to take us back to classic TV for a bit. And I thought I was misreading this when I first read it, but Mr. Ed actually was a zebra.
No.
I'm serious. Yeah, I thought I was misreading this the whole time.
Mr. Ed was a zebra?
Mr. Ed was a zebra, they say. There's no way. I think I'm reading this wrong. I've read it 5 times over, But according to Snopes, Mr. Ed, the talking horse of television fame, was a horse, is the claim, and it is false. He actually was a zebra. So says Snopes.com. Can I give you the reason why?
Yeah.
Although the Mr. Ed television show enjoyed a 5-year run on CBS in the early 1960s, it was actually one of the very first series to start out in syndication and then be picked up by a network. Without network backing in the beginning, however, the show's budget was extremely tight, and during the filming of the pilot episode, production costs mounted as the horse cast, as Mr. Ed, refused to perform on cue, if it performed at all, resulting in large expenditures to cover the cost of additional training fees and wasted footage. The producers of the show were ready to throw in the towel and finish the show off, and right off the venture, when one of the putative Mr. Ed's trainers came up with a solution. The nearby Jungle Land Animal Park in Thousand Oaks, California, had a trained gravy zebra that was being used in live show for the park's daily tour visitors. And the zebra, a female called Amelia, by its Jungle Land handlers, was trained to perform many of the same actions, such as opening and closing its mouth, stamping its feet on cue, required in Mr. Ed roles, and Jungle Land consented to lend her out for a few days of filming each week. Crazy, right?
So Mr. Ed was a zebra?
Yeah. And they're showing pictures of it, how a zebra looks in color and in black and white, and it looks like
Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed.
Hello, Wilbur.
Isn't that weird? You would think that it would still, I don't know if they had to, I'm not reading too deep into this to see if they painted the body or did some kind of dye. You would think even in black and white, that would be picked up in the black and white TV.
Yeah.
But and they go on to talk about here how even later on, where most of TV swapped over to color, they put it back in syndication and kept it in black and white and kept doing new shows in black and white so they wouldn't show it as a zebra instead of a horse.
Well, horse is a horse, of course, unless, of course, the horse, of course, is the famous Mr. Ed.
Weird, huh?
Wow.
Who'd have thought?
It's like racing stripes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Like that.
Mr. Ed was a zebra.
Yeah.
And it's true.
It is true.
It's all true.
It's damn true.
Here's one. Fidget spinners can kill your child.
Oh, no. What about adults?
A single small independent study stating that unusual amounts of lead were found in a fidget spinner has been twisted into a fear-mongering report. The result? A mixture. It's kind of true and kind of false.
Oh, really?
An official report, this is again the claim that has confirmed that fidget spinners contain a deadly amount of lead. What's true is an individual conducted test on a handful of fidget spinners found that a couple contained supposedly unhealthy amounts of lead. What's false is the reference test only included a small amount of fidget spinners and did not detect deadly levels of lead. And no report on unsafe levels of lead being found in fidget spinners has been issued by the FDA or other scientific
That
body.
makes sense because when I play with my fidget spinner, my hands smell funny for a long time afterwards. They really do.
It's the
They have
lead.
like a metallic-y smell to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Well, there you go.
What if it's been in my mouth?
Thanks, China.
Wow.
Are you putting your fidget spinner in your mouth?
No? I mean, if I'm, I have to do stuff around the house, but I want to keep spinning my fidgets, it's got to go somewhere while I use my hands.
Okay.
Oh, man, I like my fidget spinner. That's a terrible thing.
Do you have another good one?
I have one last one for you.
Okay.
This one's kind of crazy. So the story is, did Mississippi schools remove fractions and decimals from their math curriculum? The claim says the Mississippi State Legislature removed fractions and decimal points from the mathematics curriculum of public secondary schools, and the rating is that that is true. They've removed fractions and decimals from math class. The origin is, first Alabama tried to redefine the value of pi to 3 instead of 3.14 for ease for students. Then Kansas removed the requirement for teaching evolution in its public schools. We thought it couldn't get any worse, but then Mississippi came along and proved us wrong. So in 1999, they took out fractions and decimals from the Mississippi public school math curriculum. They no longer teach fractions or decimals there.
Well, then how do you learn them?
I guess you don't.
Well, I guess in that school they don't worry about it.
Isn't that crazy? It's almost 20 years now. And I'm reading this
don't
I'm reading
learn
this from
fractions
Snopes.
and decimals?
So if you've been to a Mississippi public school in the past 20 years and you did learn decimals and fractions, please let us know. But according to Snopes.com, they've done extensive research, and they say that story is true, that if you go to school in Mississippi, you're not taught decimals or fractions anymore. Is your mind blown right now?
Yeah. I mean, I can understand, like,
Yeah.
because I'm not very good at math.
Right. Yeah.
I'll just be honest. I'm not very good at math.
Right.
And, I would be all in favor of not teaching stuff like, I don't know, like really hard trigonometry and things like that.
But as far as middle school fractions and decimals, I mean, that's not so bad.
It seems like you kind of need that.
Can I give you an excerpt from an article written about this story here? So Judith Sutpin, chairperson of the Mississippi Senate Education Committee, defended the legislature's action against charges that it was motivated by controversial religious beliefs. This has absolutely nothing to do with religion, she told reporters at a press conference Friday morning. We're simply seeking to make mathematics more accessible to school children by de-emphasizing the elements that so many of them find confusing. It makes no sense to try to train our students how to think logically, then present them with nonsensical concepts such as irrational and imaginary numbers.
But they're not imaginary. They're real.
Senate Minority Leader Cora Tull indicated that religion did play a part in the passage of the legislation, however, maintaining that if cardinality is good enough for the Catholic Church, it ought to be good enough for the children of the great state of Mississippi. She added that improper fractions have no place in any respectable school system, public or private. What's wrong? Improper, I mean,
I don't know.
4/3 is 1 1/3. What's the problem with that? It's not like my brain makes me not believe in religion because 4/3 is 1 1/3. Come on. Sorry.
But you kind of need to know that. Because you can run into that in real life.
School librarians expressed concern about whether they will be able to continue categorizing books according to the Dewey Decimal System once the law goes into effect. But Jason Compson, chief librarian for the Greater Biloxi School District, opinionated that anyone who couldn't beat that Pinko Truman doesn't deserve a place of honor in our school libraries anyways. Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't live in Mississippi. But if you live in Mississippi and listen to the show, thanks.
Last but not least, several senators indicated that an additional measure aimed at removing irregular verbs from English classes might be in the offing. What does that mean? It's an irregular verb.
I've heard of that. I've also heard of getting rid of the Dewey Decimal System. Totally. Really? I've heard of. I think currently, right now, there's some Tennessee school districts that don't teach handwriting, like cursive.
Really?
Yeah. Like they don't teach the kids to write or read in cursive.
Wow. So Alabama tried to bring the value of pi to 3?
Yeah. I remember that.
They're just making jokes for us. Come on.
I know.
The jokes are being made.
What's 2 + 2, Alabama? Everybody knows it's 6. All right, here's one last one that I'm going to do. An old photograph of Joe Biden chatting with a woman in a town hall meeting was digitally manipulated to look sinister. You could probably do this. You can probably do this at home. Google creepy Joe Biden. What happens when you Google creepy Joe Biden?
Let me look up creepy Joe Biden.
The image of Joe Biden seemingly posing with the elderly woman and gun is, of course, photoshopped from this picture that is still kind of a creepy photo.
Yeah.
Where he's in her face, like pointing at her.
Yeah, I wonder, but she has and people around her have a face of joy, so I wonder if he's joking around at this moment.
Yeah, I think so. And of course, she's wearing, a campaign sticker.
Yeah, he's probably like, I remember you from the decimal fraction days back in school in Mississippi.
You tried to get rid of the Dewey Decimal System. You said fractions weren't important. And she's like, oh, Joe.
Oh, Big Joe at it again.
And then that turns into this.
That's funny.
Well, he's actually got the gun in her mouth.
Yeah, like the gun barrel's inside of her mouth. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, with that being said, I think we had a good mix of half of 50-50 there, some half and half.
Yeah, there are some things that are true
and some are fake.
And some of you wish were true.
Yeah. Wow.
Imagine if that actually happened.
Yeah, that would be more than just a picture on Google we would find. It's pretty good.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's a rich one.
So maybe that's something else we'll revisit.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, we can go for. I mean, it's a vast directory.
Yeah.
On the Snopes.com here.
We'll just do more urban legends.
Yeah.
We'll wrap up the Nolan Batman movies
next.
The White Rocket Podcast, hosted by Van Allen Plexico, covering the entire universe of popular culture, movies, TV, books, comics, music, and more, with interviews, convention panels, discussions about current and classical works, and much more. The White Rocket Podcast. It's one long conversation with a variety of guests about the best of popular culture.
There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. batten down the hatches. Because when it hits, you're all gonna wonder how you ever thought you could live so large and leave so little for the rest of us.
So in 2012, we get the sequel to The Dark Knight and the final in the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy with The Dark Knight Rises.
It's been almost exactly 5 years that it came out, almost.
I remember we were doing the show.
Yeah.
We'd been doing the show about a year.
Right.
When The Dark Knight Rises came out.
That's crazy, right?
And now here we are visiting it as a classic movie.
Yeah. And I don't think we could talk about it, not to start off on a bad foot here, but kind of the terrible, terrible thing that happened in Colorado the night of the release of that movie.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing. And we shouldn't talk too much about it, but it was it can't be forgotten when we talk about this movie. Terrible thing happened.
Theater shooting.
Yeah.
During the midnight showing.
Not sure the numbers, but many people died. Many more were injured.
I think 12 died, 58 injured.
Yeah, it was a bad time for sure. Kind of, no matter how good or bad that movie was, it put just a bad, unneeded damper on that whole experience when that came out. So even to this day, if you Google that, one of the first things you'll see is that Aurora, Colorado shooting.
To the point where Warner Brothers pulled a lot of their marketing for The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
They pulled the trailer for Gangster Squad, which was another WB movie that was airing before The Dark Knight Rises. They pulled that trailer off of it because that actually featured a theater shooting in the trailer. They canceled a lot of the premieres, like the international premieres. And then Christian Bale actually secretly got to Aurora and visited a lot of the victims from that.
That's cool. It was in general, a weird time in cinema across the country. I mean, I remember going to movie theaters after that, and I was on edge, as I believe most people were.
Yeah.
Like, for a while, I remember the few months after, I don't know the numbers on that, but what I saw visually, the numbers weren't what they should have been. For big movie premieres, I mean, they were half the normal attendance. People were just afraid to go to those things for a while because of that.
Right.
It was a bad thing.
Talking about the movie itself, what do you think? I guess I like this movie. This is a good movie.
Same here, yeah.
No way would I ever say The Dark Knight Rises is a bad movie.
Yeah.
A little lengthy.
And it confuses itself sometimes.
And that brings me to my question for you. What could they have removed from The Dark Knight Rises to make it a more tighter story?
I feel like I know they're trying to go for that Dark Knight Returns kind of feel to it, but I think it's not necessary to have that Bruce Wayne in that world pretty much retire and give up and almost become a paraplegic to an extent, and then out of nowhere, because of certain gadgets and training, his body is healed. That whole thing, even talking about it, is taking too much time up. I think that was unnecessary.
It's weird because when I think about stuff from The Dark Knight Rises, it's almost like you're talking about different movies.
Yeah,
that's early in the movie, and
you see him, he's barely walking. He's got the wispy beard kind of, and he's shrouded, and he's got a cane.
No one's seen him.
Yeah.
It's 8 years after The Dark Knight.
To me, there's no need for that.
Yeah.
I don't think that was necessary.
And according to the story, after the events of The Dark Knight, after the death of Harvey Dent, no one ever saw the Bat again.
Yeah.
And apparently Commissioner Gordon, using the death of Harvey Dent as kind of a rallying cry, is able to do a lot to take down crime in Gotham. Between what Batman had done before and Commissioner Gordon afterwards, crime is over in Gotham. To the point to where the rich politicians are talking about they don't need Gordon anymore.
Right. Yeah.
At this party where you see Bruce Wayne for the first time.
Yeah.
I think, and even though I enjoyed Anne Hathaway as Selena Kyle, Catwoman, I think this story was already too big. There's really no need to shoehorn Catwoman into the story.
Right, because she's a pretty deep character herself. I mean, she could, and sadly has, had her own movie before.
Yeah.
It's so deep. I mean, she goes from bad to good, good to bad, depending how you want to see her in that light is what she's viewed as. So I think, like you said, it's a little too much thrown in there. It was a big casserole, and she wasn't needed on top.
I totally agree. Totally agree. What about Bane in this movie?
I loved him.
Tom Hardy as Bane.
As far as comics and animation, even video games, I have no interest whatsoever in Bane, but in the movies, I loved him. Loved him. I thought it was great.
We first meet him at Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Right. In Gotham.
Yeah.
Where Heinz Ward is playing on the Gotham team.
Yeah.
And he rolls this big nuclear bomb into the stadium.
What is this?
It's a fully primed neutron bomb.
The blast radius of 6 miles.
And who is capable of disarming such a device?
Only me.
Only you. Thank you, good doctor. Now, this bomb is armed. This bomb is mobile. And the identity of the triggerman is a mystery. For one of you holds the detonator. Now we come here not as conquerors, but as liberators to return control of this city to the people.
I'm guessing that Tom Hardy had to do all the voice work for Bane after the movie.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Because didn't you say for the Mission Impossible you saw the first little sneak peek of that movie, wasn't the audio of his voice much, much more muffled and you couldn't understand him?
You couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
It was more like this. It would hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
And even in seeing it in theaters the first time for me, that first few minutes kind of took me out of it, but it brings you back in pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Much like Star Wars The Force Awakens, the first few lines you hear of Kylo Ren, it almost takes you out because we've been kind of sensitized and used to for a century now to hear very clear audio of people with their voices aren't shrouded and covered in masks and cloth and different materials. But now, as we go to the next step of movies, I think they're taking that into a perspective there, that sometimes in real life, in reality, when you hear people talk, there are things, if they have a helmet, they won't sound clear. They'll sound kind of muffled. So this, much like with Kylo Ren, I think it was needed. At first it takes you out, but clearly you get used to it after a while.
Now, let me ask you this. To kind of prove the point of how complicated and deep the story actually is.
Yeah.
Do you remember where the bomb that Bane rolls into the stadium in Gotham, where that came from?
No clue.
The bomb actually came from a project that Wayne Enterprises was working on where they were trying to develop cheap energy. And then he created this reactor. And when Bruce Wayne realized the reactor could be weaponized, he shelved the whole project, which kind of almost put Wayne Enterprises into bankruptcy. And part of this is him being fooled into trusting Ra's al Ghul's daughter, basically, spoiler alert, into running Wayne Enterprises, which allows Bane to get the reactor that he can weaponize that he takes to the stadium.
And that's a subplot.
Yeah, that doesn't even touch the surface of the story of the movie.
That has no effect to the actual movie whatsoever, really.
And it took that to explain. You have to pay attention in this movie.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Okay, so the whole Bane Batman stuff is basically based off Nightfall, which was a series in the 90s in the Batman stories where Bane breaks Batman's back. And that happens in this. And then I feel like also No Man's Land and Cataclysm were inspirations because those were stories where there's an earthquake in Gotham that basically Gotham is separate from the rest of the country. And the cool thing about No Man's Land is each of the bad guys kind of have their own territory in Gotham. And Batman stays around and Gordon stays around. Or Gordon tries to leave but then comes back. And that happens in this. After, when he takes over the football stadium, he sets off these charges around Gotham that basically separates the city from the rest of the world. And says that if anybody tries to help Gotham, he'll blow it up. He'll detonate this nuclear bomb that has a 6-mile radius. So my other question is do you remember how it is that Batman and Bane fight?
It was in like a sewer, right?
Right, but do you remember how they met? How they met up to fight?
I don't. Besides him, I don't remember how it happened.
Selena Kyle is working for the bad guy billionaire in the movie.
I do. It's coming back to me.
When you first meet her, she's trying to steal something from Wayne Manor. And Batman catches her, and they kind of go at it, and then she escapes. Batman figures out that it's her. He tracks her down, finds out that she's working for the bad guy billionaire who supposedly has this technology that can wipe her digital record away, and she'd basically she could be a ghost, untrackable, which is what she wants. She wants a fresh start, clean slate, is the name of the device.
Starring Dana Carvey.
Right.
Sorry.
So it's her working for the bad guy billionaire who is also using Bane to steal Bruce Wayne's money and force Wayne Enterprises to go bankrupt. So once Batman realizes there's a connection between Selina Kyle and Bane, he convinces Selina Kyle to hook him up with a meeting with Bane, and then she double-crosses Batman, and it's a trap, and that's where they fight.
Yes, in the sewer.
In the sewer. Again, not a major part of the story.
Yeah, but very, very deep.
Yeah. There is so much to the story.
Yeah.
And then the overarching story is it turns out that it's basically just it's the League of Shadows trying to destroy Gotham like they weren't able to do in Batman Begins.
Yeah, it all comes full circle.
Then I guess the story does become full circle.
Yeah.
One of the highlights of the movie is once Bane has taken over Gotham, he goes to Blackgate Prison. And, earlier in the film,
so much stuff.
Earlier in the film, he had kidnapped Commissioner Gordon.
Right.
But Commissioner Gordon was able to escape thanks to a dogged detective or actually just an officer, a patrolman.
Yeah.
John Blake.
Right. Just a normal guy. Doesn't mean anything special to the story.
John Blake just wants to, but he wants to be a detective.
He's your everyday guy.
And through his super cop skills, he's able to find Commissioner Gordon. And because nobody believes that there's this group under the sewers, which there is, and it's led by Bane.
Yeah.
And when Gordon is kidnapped by Bane, they discover a retirement or a letter that Gordon has written in his jacket that would basically him being, he would be stepping down as commissioner, and this would be the letter that he would read. But Bane finds it and is able to use this to rally his troops.
You have been supplied with a false idol to stop you tearing down this corrupt city. Let me tell you the truth about Harvey Dent. From the words of Gotham's police commissioner, James Gordon. The Batman didn't murder Harvey Dent. He saved my boy. Then took the blame for Harvey's appalling crimes so that I could, to my shame, build a lie around this fallen idol. I praised the madman who tried to murder my own child, but I can no longer live with my lie. It is time to trust the people of Gotham with the truth, and it is time for me to resign.
And do you accept this man's resignation? And do you accept the resignation of all of these liars? Of all the corrupt?
So there he is outside Blackgate.
Yeah, starting a riot pretty much. Mm-hmm. And some of those wealthier people and the officials, maybe government officials, are kind of put on trial for their bad choices. And who do we have as the judge? You remember the judge?
Oh, it's Scarecrow.
Yeah,
Scarecrow's the judge in a later scene. Now, there's rumors that this was but I don't think it's true.
You don't think so?
No, because I think the idea for this story came after The Dark Knight, even after the release of The Dark Knight.
Uh-huh.
I think Nolan and his brother came up with the idea for The Dark Knight Rises after that. But there is a rumor that the Scarecrow returns as basically the judge in this trial, and it was originally supposed to be the Joker. Like, it was originally written to be Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Right.
But my argument to that is you would not just use the Joker for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're going to bring the Joker back, he would be more of a major character in the movie.
Probably so.
Than just overseeing a court like this. But yeah, here's the Scarecrow.
What sort of due process is this?
Your guilt has been determined. This is merely a sentencing hearing. Now, what will it be? Death or exile?
Crane, if you think we're going out onto that ice willingly, you have another thing coming.
Death, then.
Looks that way.
Very well. Death! by exile.
It was fun seeing the Joker return.
Yeah, well, yeah, or the Scarecrow.
Scarecrow.
Yeah.
It would have been even more fun to see the Joker return.
Well, I guess if we skip the part here that when this is happening, Batman's back, like Nightfall, has been broken and thrown into this very, very deep underground, inescapable prison
that gets all the news channels.
So my if I'm nitpicking, a plot problem I have here is clearly Bane has no problem killing people. Why wouldn't he kill his biggest nuisance and threat around in Batman instead of breaking his back and putting him in prison?
Well, he told you.
He
told Batman.
Did he? I forgot now. He wants to see him suffer?
When you see your precious Gotham fall.
Oh, yeah.
Then I will allow you to die.
Yeah. I remember that now. That line. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So but he actually rehabs himself from a broken back with no real medical attention.
Oh, man. Totally rehabs it.
He does.
I mean,
I guess it takes 6 months. I guess that's what we're supposed to guess.
And don't even talk to me about how the hell he got on foot from that prison back to Gotham.
Yeah, how do you do that? How do you know?
He just shows up like, I'm back. What? What happened?
Like this fire with the bat signal. Like he wasted time. Like he shows up, he's able to get back into Gotham when no one can get into Gotham. And the first thing he does is to go paint this huge bat signal on a wall. So right after that scene where Gordon is forced out on the ice, he's like, drop the match. Look what I made.
Isn't it pretty?
I made you a beautiful bat.
Yeah.
I do have a bit of a
And once again, kind of a twist. We've talked about it in the Wonder Woman episode. If you want to pay some Patreon money, you can hear that. Or in superhero movies in general, it's kind of that twist ending of you don't think who it is who it actually is kind of deal. And this movie has that. We'll talk of soon. But they kind of tease the whole time this prison is inescapable, but only one child ever has escaped from there. Like, oh, Bane was the child and escaped from there. Yeah, but that's not the case, as we soon find out.
No. It was Miranda Tate.
Yeah. Well, who's Miranda Tate? She's no one special, right?
Oh, it's Ra's al Ghul's daughter.
Talia al Ghul.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Who had romanced Bruce Wayne earlier in the movie. Yeah, see, there's the whole story with them.
Yeah.
What else? The Matthew Modine story.
I think I may have forgotten the Matthew Modine side
Matthew
story.
Modine is basically cowers once Bane takes over. He's not chief of the police, is he? Maybe he's police chief.
Is he? I really don't remember.
But
him.
he cowers when Bane takes over. He basically goes into hiding.
Really?
Even when Gordon shows up and asks for his help, he's like, no, I don't do that anymore.
I think I forgot.
Prank call, I don't know you. And he refuses to help. But then at the end, when the cops who have been underground for 6 months, right?
Right, yeah.
With no, at
the same time Batman was in prison, so around 6 months, yeah.
Yeah. You see that, like, Blake's part of a small group that's like, help. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Oh, my goodness. I forgot about this. Like, before Bane blows up the city, he tricks all the cops to go look for him underground.
Yeah.
And then when they're underground, he, sets off the explosives that traps all the police underground.
Right.
So through the entirety of the movie, pretty much, the 6 month period, the cops are all trapped underground. And you see that John Blake is part of a group that kind of goes around and lowers them water and food.
Yeah.
I guess they're doing that for hundreds of cops.
Yeah.
I guess. But they're trapped underground.
Yeah.
They haven't had a good night's sleep in 6 months.
Right.
And as soon as Batman shows up and frees them, they're able to go one-on-one with Bane's army.
And it's so crazy to me. Is that really plausible that no matter what kind of situation Gotham is in, that the actual United States government wouldn't get involved in this somehow?
No.
I mean, really, they act like it's a different planet on its own, but it's still part of the United States. So realistically, if this ever happened, if we're going for an ultra-realistic Christopher Nolan world here, you tell me the
government tries to.
Right.
They sneak remember they sneak the military guys in.
I don't remember
And then they get caught. And Bane executes them publicly.
Hangs them up to through
from the helicopters.
Yeah, I do remember, and that's whenever he sees that on his CNN from his prison cell.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
The bodies hanging from the.
That's what that was.
It's pretty dark for even a Batman movie.
Yeah,
the bodies hanging from the helicopters flying around the city.
Mm-hmm.
But so you had a problem with Batman not being Batman for 8 years.
Yeah, to me, I mean.
But do you believe that what Bane says that we get the sense that Batman's going to take the blame for Harvey Dent's crimes.
Yeah.
So if that happened, wouldn't it just not make sense for him to go into hiding?
I would think so.
Then rather than trying to keep being Batman, because we always thought, it was because what's her name got killed in the Dark Knight that he wouldn't be Batman.
Right. Yeah.
But he actually went into hiding because Batman was taking the heat for what Harvey Dent did, so they could keep the White Knight of Harvey Dent alive in the minds of the
They say that,
people.
but at the same time, he's so battered and broken he can barely walk. He's on a cane. So, which one is it? I think you have to choose at that point. They say it's to cover that up. He's taking the heat from that, but at the same time, he's beaten and broken.
Yeah.
Is it a mental reason you're not? Is it emotional or is it physical? Which one is it?
I think it was a combination of all.
Think so?
All of the above.
I mean, how does he? I know they try to explain it with a little montage of gadgets and training, but how in the hell is he fine now?
I don't know, and he's fine too once he heals from his broken back.
Yeah.
When this came out, and we talked about this originally on our show
5 years ago, yeah.
I said this was Rocky 3.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it is.
Yeah, yeah.
This is Rocky 3 in the Batman world.
Without a doubt.
Nobody can beat Batman. Bane beats Batman. Batman trains really hard, comes back, and has the final fight with Bane.
Right, yeah.
On the steps of the courthouse. In the daylight.
I could see...
In the snow.
I could hear Bane pitying a fool. I could hear that.
Yeah.
But I think they missed out on a plot there. Do they ever explain why Bane has that breathing apparatus at all?
No.
Do they speak of venom whatsoever? I think that kind of character could have some more depth. I know this movie, the last thing it needs is more depth. But take some of those layers away of that stuff, with the bomb and the fingerprints and Selena Kyle and Matthew Modine. Take that away and give me 10 minutes of an actual origin story of why Bane needs what he has.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't even know if it doesn't look like he has the venom in this.
I don't think so. He's just very strong. He's muscled.
Yeah. And obviously there's something with his face that requires the mask, but we don't know what it is.
Because you even see a glimpse of his actual face in the end when you find out it was he that was helped Talia al Ghul escape from the prison.
Yeah.
So I think that could have some more depth. Like I said, take away a lot of the other depth. Give me 10 minutes of backstory for him.
That's all. Because isn't that what you're to assume, that he was so viciously beaten for helping her escape?
That's what it was. Maybe that's what it was.
That it requires the mask.
Because he's getting beaten looking up, and the last thing you see is his face before the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is funny because that goes off of the idea that we know Tom Hardy's his actual face.
Right.
You've never seen, up until that point, never seen a picture of Bane before his mask. And you only see him look up as Tom Hardy. And only if you know the actor Tom Hardy, what his face looks like, will you have the realization, oh, wow, that was a trick little surprise. That's Bane there. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't know what Tom Hardy looked like without the mask, you'd have no idea what that was supposed to be happening there.
Yeah.
It was weird. A lot of stuff.
I agree.
A lot of hits, maybe even more misses, but I enjoy it for what it is still.
Well, we totally forgot about how they faked Bruce Wayne's fingerprint.
Right.
To sell all the Wayne Enterprise, like to send the stock into disarray on the Gotham Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
Because there's the whole sequence where Bane robs the stock exchange.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
That is good. That's a good sequence. The motorcycle sequence.
Yeah. Like I said, it was, for a while there, and that was a lot of cosplay. Conventions were huge with Bane cosplay, and I feel like that's died down tremendously in the past 4 years.
Yeah.
But chubby bald guys were like, yes.
Yeah, I can be Bane.
Be someone now.
I just need a coat and a mask.
Yeah. But it's weird they took him as the main villain. Bane, as long as we've known, has been just ultimate muscle. And with the venom in his blood and his veins, even more so muscle. But at this point here, he's basically a mastermind that can bench press a lot.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Yeah, he well, is he the mastermind, or is
I guess you could say
she is.
Okay, I guess.
See,
but
that's kind of the disappointing thing too.
Right.
Is at the very end of the movie, you think Bane has done all this.
Pulls the old Mandarin on us.
Right. But really he's just working for the League of Shadows. Basically. So that's a bit disheartening.
Yeah.
What about the idea that Batman sacrifices himself?
Yeah.
We see him literally fly into the sunset with the nuclear bomb. It goes off. Earlier in the movie, Lucius Fox had made a reference to the autopilot not working on the on the Batcopter, the Bat.
Yeah.
Then the bomb goes off. We believe Batman's dead, and we find out, oh, wait a minute. Bruce Wayne fixed the autopilot. What does that mean? What? And the movie closes with Bruce Wayne having a drink with Selena Kyle in Europe. Oh, yeah. He and Alfred had a falling out earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
And Alfred, which is a really good performance by Michael Caine, where he
basically... a great Alfred.
Where he basically begs him to stop being Batman. You know, I hope that one day, you know, you're not Batman, basically is what he's saying. And he and Alfred have a falling out when he realizes that things weren't where he thought they were in The Dark Knight, where his girlfriend, would-be girlfriend,
Rachel
Dawes,
yeah.
Bruce believed Rachel Dawes was going to come back to him.
Right.
But Alfred knew that she was actually going with Harvey.
Yeah.
And when the truth comes out, Batman gets mad. He and Alfred have a fight.
Wow.
Alfred leaves.
Yeah.
Which was smart because it got Alfred out of the story so he didn't die in Gotham.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. But yeah, the movie closes with them in Europe.
Yeah.
Alfred looks across at some outdoor restaurant, and there's Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle.
Yeah, just hanging out. Give me a little wink and the nod.
Everybody lives happily ever
A
after.
little wink in the gun. But don't forget about our friend John Blake.
Oh, no, yeah, that's right. Because Bruce Wayne's dead.
Yeah.
So he left his mansion to an orphanage. So his mansion becomes the Wayne Manor becomes an orphanage. And
the same orphanage John Blake came from himself. Yeah.
And he left all his gear to John Blake, who actually has a different name.
Robin.
Yeah. Why don't you go by your original name? What was that? What did she ask him?
Yeah, I forgot how it was worded, but
I don't know.
Maybe his middle name? Maybe his name was Robin John Blake?
Oh, why don't you go by your first name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Robin?
Yeah.
And
he swings into the Batcave.
Yeah. And that's how we end the Nolan Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, I remember it ended and it was silence. Like you almost expect for a movie that big to have some applause, but credits hit and everyone was just like, huh.
What? It is kind of that feeling. Like, what did I just watch?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No, I like it.
I went to see The Dark Knight Rises. The first time I saw it was in IMAX at a sneak preview with producer Brian.
Oh, wow. That guy. What happened to him?
Yeah, we went to watch it in IMAX.
Mm-hmm.
Then I saw it a second time in IMAX with my wife.
Wow, you spent like $40 on that movie.
And then I think that was it for the theater run. But I've seen it 2 or 3 times since it's been out on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's good, but it's very complicated.
Right.
It's more complicated than Inception.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is basically the same cast.
And we spent a long time just talking about that, and we still haven't covered a quarter of what we should have.
No. What else do you think we should have talked about?
I mean, it's all the deep stuff. All the you were saying stuff like with Matthew Modine, for example, I've totally forgotten about.
Yeah.
And they're pretty big points of the story, I guess.
Yeah.
Just all of that. I've forgotten how does Bane actually die? Is it the actual bat pod? Whenever I remember Catwoman crashes through, or does she kill Talia? Who does she kill with the missile launched from the bat pod when she crashes through the wall?
She kills Bane.
Was it Bane?
Yeah,
I couldn't remember who it was.
Because, she's like, I know you got this whole no-kill policy.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't have that.
Yeah. So how does Talia die? How does Talia al Ghul die?
She dies because she is trying to get the bomb to a location where it'll be detonated. And then I think when Batman comes in and tries to... she's shot, basically. She's shot.
Yeah.
When Batman and Gordon are trying to... Oh, don't you remember? Because she had that terrible death scene. I mean, it was like a...
Was it bad?
It's a terrible...
Really?
Like, it almost... It's like it's like a parody of a death scene.
Yeah.
She's like, I just wanted to finish my father's work. And then she dies. Something like that.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. And she got shot in the truck. And she's sitting there with the gunshot wound.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, why, Miranda? Why? Because I'm dying. And I got to give this exposition before I die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I like it. I do. As much as we harp on it, it's good.
It is a good movie. Yeah, it's not as good as The Dark Knight.
No. It's my second favorite. I like it more than Batman Begins.
In my opinion, not as good as Batman Begins.
I got you. I liked it. That's my second favorite, but it has more action, more depth, which
it does have. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
But it's too fantastic of a story.
I think so, yeah.
I think it is too fantastic to say Bane took over Gotham, separated from the rest of the world. Mm. No one can help Gotham but one man.
Yeah.
And he's in a hole.
Down in a hole.
Yeah. And his name is Bruce Wayne. with a broken back.
But he climbs out and he's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry. He makes this impossible leap.
He just needed to crack his back. See, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was having spasms.
Yeah. Hey, big guy, can you walk on my back for me?
Oh, and that happened in the prison.
Yeah. His old cellmate. Yeah.
It's got some great shots in it, though. That Heinz Stadium stuff, Heinz Field stuff
cool.
is really good. The IMAX stuff with the different... When you start seeing the bridges blow around Gotham, and it's just wide scene where you start seeing little explosions around the map.
The opening scene in the airplane's pretty cool. First time we're introduced to Bane himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
For you.
Would it hurt if I took that thing off?
It'd be very painful. Oh, come on here, big guy. For you. The 3-syllable you.
What's the... Perhaps he's wondering why you would shoot a man before throwing him out of a plane.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, I was wondering what would break first. Was it your will or your body? Your will or your body?
Yeah, that's what it was. Have you ever heard Kevin Smith do his Bane impression?
No, is it pretty good?
Oh, it's hilarious. Basically, on his show, Edumacation, he's created Bane. Like, Bane appears on the show.
Yeah.
And in his world, Bane has become a road comedian.
This is only for the comic book people. There's 3 of them. Study at Johns Hopkins revealed that 1/3 of deaths in the U.S. are due to medical errors. Here's the alternate joke ending, Andrew. What? Is Ra's al Ghul practicing medicine now?
It's a really funny impression. Final thoughts on The Dark Knight Rises.
I like it. If I had to go back and rate it, I would say 8 out of 10. Not bad at all.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that's a fair rating for that.
It's a good number.
Tell us what you think about The Dark Knight Rises and the Nolan Bat trilogy. What's the next trilogy we're going to do?
Oh man, we have so many. We should probably touch on the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies because the MCU will never ever touch that. I feel like that was a pretty important superhero trilogy that kind of almost kickstarted what we have today.
Yeah,
I think Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy should be next.
Okay. Yeah, maybe in July.
Yeah,
we'll start the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy.
Let's do it.
I'm Jay Patrick. That's Adam.
Eat your podcast roll now.
This has been a production of the Adam and JP family of on-demand talk radio.
AdamandJP.com.
Right now.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network, your station for all things geek, classic, current, and beyond. Be part of the crew at ESONetwork.com.